The rain hit the windshield in heavy sheets. Min-jun Park sat in his old sedan, watching the drops race down the glass. His eyes were tired. 3 years. 3 long years of pretending to be someone else. 3 years of living a lie. He was a federal agent, but nobody knew that. For the past 3 years, he had been working undercover. He pretended to be a courier, a nobody who delivered packages for criminals. It was dangerous work. Every day he had to remember his fake name, his fake story, his fake life. One mistake could get him killed. Tonight was important. Min-jun was waiting for information. Someone was supposed to pass him a message about a big smuggling operation. The criminals he was tracking moved illegal goods across the country. Drugs, stolen items, fake documents. Min-jun had been getting closer to the top bosses. Tonight's message would help him understand how they moved their products, but he was hungry. Very hungry. He had been sitting in this parking lot for 2 hours and his stomach was growling. Across the street there was a fast food restaurant. The sign glowed in the rain. It was not a fancy place, just a small burger joint that stayed open late. Min-jun looked at his watch. He had time. The contact would not arrive for another hour. He could grab some food and be back before the meeting. He pulled up his jacket hood and ran through the rain to the restaurant. The door chimed as he entered. Water dripped from his jacket onto the tile floor. The restaurant was nearly empty. Just 2 other customers sat in a corner booth, not talking, just eating quietly. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Everything smelled like old frying oil. Min-jun walked to the counter. Behind it stood a young man, maybe 25 years old. He wore a manager's badge that said Derek. He was looking at his phone, not paying attention to customers. He had blonde hair gelled back and wore too much cologne. Min-jun could smell it from several feet away. "Excuse me," Min-jun said politely. "Can I order?" Derek looked up slowly. He seemed annoyed that someone had interrupted him. His eyes scanned Min-jun from head to toe. Min-jun knew what Derek was seeing. An Asian man in his 30s wearing cheap clothes, hair wet from rain. Derek's expression changed. It was a look Min-jun had seen before, judgment, disrespect. "Yeah, what do you want?" Derek said. His tone was not friendly. "I would like a cheeseburger, please," Min-jun said. "With no onions, and a medium fries, and a cola." Derek punched buttons on the register without looking at the screen. "That it?" "Yes, please." "And can the burger have no onions?" "I am allergic." Derek rolled his eyes. "Yeah, whatever." $13.50. Min-jun paid with cash. He took his receipt and moved to the side to wait. Through the window he could still see his car. Good. He needed to keep watch. The contact could arrive early. 10 minutes passed. Min-jun's order number was called. He went to the counter. Derek shoved a bag across to him, still looking at his phone. Min-jun took the bag and sat at a table near the window. He opened the wrapper on his burger. Onions. Lots of onions. He could see them piled on the meat. He had specifically said no onions. He had said he was allergic. He walked back to the counter. "Excuse me, I asked for no onions. I am allergic." Derek looked up with annoyance. "So pick them off." "I cannot. I am allergic." "The juice from the onions will still be on the burger." Derek sighed loudly, like Min-jun was asking him to climb a mountain. "Fine, whatever." He grabbed the burger and yelled at someone in the back kitchen. "Remake this." "No onions." Min-jun waited again. 5 more minutes. The burger came back. Derek handed it over without a word. Min-jun returned to his table. He opened the new burger. Onions again. Even more than before. This was not an accident. This was deliberate. He was a federal agent. He had faced armed criminals. He had been in dangerous situations that would make most people panic. But he could not break his cover for a burger. He needed to stay calm, stay in character. His cover identity was a quiet, nervous courier, someone who would not make trouble. Min-jun ate the fries instead. They were cold and soggy. He drank the cola. It was flat. He watched the rain through the window and tried to ignore his empty stomach. Then something caught his attention. A man entered through a side door, not the main entrance. He was wearing a dark jacket, hood up. He went straight to Derek at the counter. They did not speak loudly. The man handed Derek a manila envelope. It was thick, stuffed with something. Min-jun's instincts activated. He had seen that man before. Where? He searched his memory. Then it hit him. 2 months ago at a warehouse. The man had been there when Min-jun delivered packages. He was part of the smuggling ring. Min-jun stayed very still. He pretended to look at his phone, but his eyes tracked every movement. Derek opened the envelope slightly. Min-jun could not see inside, but Derek nodded and smiled. The first real smile Min-jun had seen on his face. Derek pulled out his own envelope from under the counter and handed it to the man. This was an exchange. Money for information or products or access. Whatever it was, it connected Derek to the criminals Min-jun was investigating. The man in the hood left through the same side door. Derek looked around the restaurant. His eyes passed over Min-jun, dismissing him as unimportant. Just another poor customer. Nobody to worry about. Derek went to the back room carrying the envelope. Min-jun memorized everything. The time, the description of the man, the type of envelope, Derek's behavior. This was important. When Derek came back, he was different. More relaxed. He laughed with an employee who was mopping the floor. Then he saw Min-jun still sitting there. "You need something else?" Derek called out rudely. "This ain't a hotel. You gonna order more or just take up space?" Other customers looked over. Min-jun felt their eyes on him. This was humiliation designed to make him leave. But Min-jun was trained to endure worse than insults. "I am waiting for the rain to slow down," Min-jun said quietly. "Then I will go." "Well, wait outside," Derek said. "We're closing soon anyway. It was only 9 o'clock. The sign on the door said they closed at 11. But Min-jun stood up. He threw away his uneaten burger and left. Outside, the rain had lightened to a drizzle. Min-jun walked back to his car slowly. His mind was racing. That restaurant was not just a restaurant. It was something more. A meeting point? A drop location? Derek was connected to the smuggling ring somehow. Min-jun sat in his car. He pulled out a small notebook from his glove compartment. He wrote down everything he had observed. The time, the description, Derek's name, the location. Then he took out his phone and called a number. "Chen?" A woman's voice answered. "It's Park," Min-jun said. "I have something. Not about tonight's meeting. Something else. Go ahead. That burger place across from my position, Golden Star Burgers. The manager is connected. I just saw an exchange. One of our targets from the warehouse job." There was silence on the other end. Then Agent Sarah Chen spoke. "Are you sure?" "Positive. I recognize the courier. Derek, the manager, he is part of this." "Derek have a last name?" "Not yet. But I will find out." "Okay, keep watching. But do not compromise your cover. Your main assignment is still priority." "Understood." Min-jun ended the call. He looked back at the restaurant. Through the windows he could see Derek laughing, talking on his phone. The man had no idea that someone was watching. No idea that his world was about to change. Min-jun thought about the wrong orders, the insults, the disrespect. Under normal circumstances it was nothing, just a rude employee having a bad day. But now it was personal, now it was also professional. The contact for his main assignment arrived an hour later. Min-jun got the information he needed, but his mind kept returning to that restaurant, to Derek, to the envelope exchange. As he drove home through the wet streets that night, Min-jun made a decision. He would investigate Golden Star Burgers. He would find out what Derek was hiding, and he would do it the right way, carefully, patiently, professionally. He smiled slightly in the darkness. Derek had made a mistake. He had underestimated the quiet customer with the wrong order. That mistake would cost him everything. The next morning, Min-jun walked into a small office building downtown. To anyone watching, it looked like any other office. But this was a federal operations center. Inside, agents worked to stop criminals across the country. He took the elevator to the 3rd floor. Agent Sarah Chen was waiting for him in a conference room. She was in her 40s with short black hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She had been Min-jun's handler for all 3 years of his undercover work. "Tell me about this restaurant," Sarah said as Min-jun sat down. Min-jun opened his notebook. "Golden Star Burgers. It is on 5th Street near the warehouse district. The manager's name is Derek. I did not get a last name yet. Last night at approximately 9:15, a courier from the Park Street warehouse operation entered and exchanged envelopes with Derek." Sarah typed notes into her computer. "You are sure it was the same courier?" "Positive. I delivered packages to him twice. His face is very clear in my memory. Tattoo on his left hand, snake design. We have him in our database. His name is Marcus Webb, small-time criminal. He runs packages for different groups." Sarah pulled up files on her screen. And this Derek, you think he is part of the smuggling operation? The exchange was not casual, Min-jun said. It was planned. Derek knew he was coming. He had an envelope ready under the counter. Sarah was quiet for a moment. She clicked through screens on her computer. Golden Star Burgers. Let me check if we have anything on file. She typed and read. Interesting. The restaurant was flagged 6 months ago. Anonymous tips said it might be used for money laundering, but the investigation found nothing. Clean books, clean operation. The case was closed. Maybe they looked at the wrong things, Min-jun said. Maybe. Sarah looked at him. Or maybe this Derek is smarter than we thought. How do you want to proceed? I want to investigate. Go there regularly. Watch patterns. See who comes and goes, Sarah frowned. That is risky. Your main assignment is the warehouse operation. We are close to moving on that. 3 years of work. I do not want you compromised because of a restaurant manager. The courier connects them, Min-jun said. What if the restaurant is part of the same network? What if they are all connected? Sarah considered this. You might be right, but you need to be careful. If Derek is part of this and he recognizes you from somewhere, your cover is blown. He will not recognize me. To him, I am nobody. Just another customer he can disrespect. Something in Min-jun's voice made Sarah look at him closely. This is not personal, is it? No, Min-jun said, but he remembered the onions on his burger. The mockery, the way Derek had looked at him. It is professional. Good intelligence. Sarah did not look convinced, but she nodded. Okay, you can investigate. But the warehouse operation stays priority 1. Understood? Understood. Over the next week, Min-jun returned to Golden Star Burgers 5 times. Each visit, he ordered food. Each visit, Derek got his order wrong. It seemed impossible to mess up so many orders by accident. On his second visit, Min-jun ordered a chicken sandwich with no mayonnaise. It came with extra mayonnaise. When he politely asked for a new one, Derek sighed loudly and said, Learn to speak English better, maybe I will understand your order. Other customers stared. Min-jun felt anger rise in his chest, but he pushed it down. He was a professional. He had faced worse than insults. On his third visit, he ordered a simple hamburger and fries. The burger was burnt, the fries were raw. Derek was not even apologetic. That is what you get for the price, he said with a smirk. But Min-jun was not there for good food. He was there to watch, and he saw things. He noticed that certain customers were treated very well. They came in, ordered, and Derek smiled at them. Really smiled. He gave them extra fries, fresh food, quick service. These customers always came on specific days, Tuesday and Friday evenings. He noticed that on rainy days, more of these special customers appeared. They would order, then sit for exactly 10 minutes, then leave. They never finished their food. They always left through the side door, not the main entrance. He noticed that deliveries came at odd times. Most restaurants got deliveries in the morning. Golden Star got deliveries late at night. The delivery truck had no company name on the side. Just a white van with no markings. Min-jun documented everything. He took photos with his phone, pretending to browse social media. He memorized license plate numbers. He noted times and dates. On his 4th visit, something important happened. An elderly woman was working behind the counter. She was Hispanic, maybe in her 60s, with kind eyes and tired hands. Her name tag said Rosa Rodriguez. Derek was not there that evening. Rosa took Min-jun's order with a warm smile. What would you like, honey? A cheeseburger, please. No onions and fries. Thank you. Of course. Coming right up. 10 minutes later, Rosa brought the food to his table herself. The burger was perfect, no onions. The fries were hot and crispy. It was the first good meal he had eaten at this restaurant. Thank you, Min-jun said. This is very good, Rosa smiled. Derek is not here tonight. When he is gone, we can make the food the right way. She said it quietly, like sharing a secret. You have worked here long? Min-jun asked. 8 years, Rosa said. It used to be a nice place. But things changed when Derek became manager 2 years ago. Changed how? Rosa looked around, making sure no other workers were listening. He is not a good man. He treats the workers badly, especially people like me, immigrants, people with accents. He thinks we are stupid. Min-jun felt connection to this woman. His own parents had immigrated to this country. They had faced people like Derek, people who judged them for being different. I am sorry, Min-jun said. Rosa shrugged. It is okay. I need this job. But Derek, he does strange things. Gets deliveries at night. Has meetings with scary people. I think he does bad business here. What kind of bad business? Rosa shook her head. I do not know. But I see things. Every Friday when it rains, special people come. They go to the back room with Derek. They carry bags. Heavy bags. She leaned closer. I think maybe drugs or something illegal. This was important information. Do you know what time they come? Usually around 8 or 9 at night. When Derek thinks nobody is paying attention. Rosa looked sad. I should not talk about this. But you seem nice. You should be careful. Do not make Derek angry. He knows dangerous people. I will be careful, Minjun promised. Thank you for telling me. Rosa patted his shoulder gently. Finish your food before it gets cold. That night Minjun met with Sarah again. He told her everything Rosa had said. Sarah pulled up a file. Rosa Rodriguez. She is in our system. Applied for a work permit 3 years ago. It is still pending. She is from El Salvador. Has 2 children, both American citizens. Works 3 jobs to support them. She is a good person, Minjun said. She is also vulnerable, Sarah said. If Derek knows she is undocumented, he could be using that against her. Threatening her, Minjun felt anger again. Using someone's immigration status as a weapon was low. Very low, Sarah continued typing. I am going to run deeper background on Derek. Full name, criminal history, financial records. This might take a few days. What about surveillance on the restaurant? I will see what I can authorize. But we need to be smart about this. If Derek is connected to your main targets, we do not want to scare him away. Agreed. 3 days later, Sarah called Minjun. I have information on your restaurant manager. Derek Hoffman, age 26. He has a minor criminal record. Shoplifting as a teenager. 1 arrest for assault that was dismissed. He became manager of Golden Star 2 years ago. How did someone with a criminal record become a manager? Minjun asked. That is the interesting part. The restaurant is owned by a holding company. That company is owned by another company. That company is registered in Delaware. Very hard to trace. But I followed the money. Guess who I found? Who? James Park. Minjun sat up straight. James Park was one of the main targets of his 3-year investigation. He was suspected of running a large smuggling operation, moving drugs, stolen electronics, and fake documents across state lines. So the restaurant is a front, Minjun said. Looks that way. Derek is probably middle management. Takes orders from higher up. The restaurant provides legitimate business cover and a place to move product. What about the Friday deliveries Rosa mentioned? We are going to set up surveillance. Next Friday is in 4 days. If it rains and these special deliveries happen, we will catch it on camera. Minjun thought about Rosa. Working at that restaurant surrounded by criminals, not knowing how deep the danger went. We need to protect Rosa and the other workers, he said. We will. When we move on this place, we will make sure the innocent workers are safe. But Minjun, you need to be extra careful now. If Derek or anyone else connects you to law enforcement, you could be in serious danger. I know. No more visits to the restaurant until Friday. Stay away. Let our surveillance team handle it. Minjun wanted to argue, but Sarah was right. He had pushed his luck already. 5 visits in 1 week was a lot. Smart criminals noticed patterns. Okay, he agreed. I will stay away until Friday. But even as he said it, he was already planning. Friday was 4 days away. 4 days to prepare. 4 days to make sure everything was ready. Derek Hoffman had no idea what was coming. He thought he was safe, hidden behind his legitimate business, protected by his bosses. Friday arrived with dark clouds. The weather forecast predicted heavy rain by evening. Perfect conditions for Derek's special deliveries, if Rosa was right. Minjun spent the morning in the operations center with Sarah and 3 other agents. They gathered in a conference room, reviewing plans and checking equipment. We have 3 surveillance vehicles positioned around the restaurant, Sarah explained, pointing to a map on the screen. 2 agents in each vehicle. They have cameras with night vision and long-range audio equipment. Agent Marcus Webb, no relation to the courier, raised his hand. What if nothing happens? What if they know we are watching? We have been very careful, Sarah said. The vehicles look like normal cars. Civilian plates. No one will suspect anything. And even if nothing happens tonight, we keep watching. Eventually they will move. Agent Kim Seo-yoon, a tech specialist, spoke up. I have access to the restaurant's business records. Derek Hoffman has been moving a lot of cash through that place. more than a small burger joint should make. Either he is the most popular restaurant in the city, or he is cleaning dirty money. Probably both, Sarah said. The restaurant is real. It serves real food. But it also serves as cover for illegal activity. That makes it harder to catch. Everything looks legitimate on the surface. Min-jun had been quiet, studying the map. What about the workers? Rosa told me she works Friday nights. If something happens, if there is a confrontation, she could be in danger. Sarah nodded. We have thought about that. Our job tonight is surveillance only. We watch, we record, we gather evidence. No confrontation. No arrests, not yet. The workers will be safe. What if something goes wrong? Min-jun pressed. We have backup teams on standby. If anyone is in danger, we move in. But we are hoping to avoid that. The meeting lasted another hour. They reviewed protocols, emergency procedures, and communication codes. By the time they finished, it was 3 in the afternoon. Rain had started to fall. Everyone get some rest, Sarah said. We start positions at 6. Full surveillance by 7. Min-jun went to his apartment. It was small and plain, suitable for his cover identity. He had lived there for 3 years, pretending to be a simple courier with no family, no friends, no real life. It was lonely work. He lay on his bed trying to sleep, but his mind would not rest. He kept thinking about Derek, about the smuggling ring, about Rosa and the other workers. 3 years of careful work was about to pay off. But he felt something else too, something personal. Derek had treated him like garbage, not because of anything Min-jun had done, but because of how he looked. Because Derek saw an Asian immigrant and assumed he could be disrespected. It was a small thing compared to the crimes Derek was involved in. But it mattered. Min-jun's parents had come to this country 40 years ago. They worked hard jobs. His father was a janitor. His mother cleaned houses. They faced discrimination every day. People who looked down on them. People who spoke slowly, assuming they could not understand English. People like Derek. That was why Min-jun had become a federal agent. To protect people who could not protect themselves. To stop criminals who hurt vulnerable communities. This case was personal in ways Sarah did not fully understand. At 5:30, Min-jun got up. He dressed in dark clothes and a waterproof jacket. The rain was steady now, tapping against his window. He checked his phone. A text from Sarah. Rain is perfect. They will move tonight. Min-jun drove to a location 3 blocks from the restaurant. He parked and walked to one of the surveillance vehicles. Sarah was inside with Agent Kim. Status? Min-jun asked, climbing into the back seat. All teams in position, Sarah said. She pointed to a laptop screen showing multiple camera feeds. We have views of the front entrance, side door, and loading area in the back. Audio is good. We can hear conversations up to 50 feet away. On the screen, Min-jun could see Golden Star burgers. The lights were on inside. Through the windows, he saw Derek moving behind the counter. Rosa was there too, serving customers. We wait, Sarah said. The next 2 hours moved slowly. Min-jun watched the screens as normal customers came and went. Families getting dinner, teenagers hanging out. Nothing suspicious. At 8:15, the rain got heavier. That was when the first special visitor arrived. A black sedan pulled up to the side door. A man got out wearing an expensive suit and carrying a briefcase. He did not look like a typical fast food customer. Camera 2, zoom in, Sarah said. Agent Kim adjusted the view. The man's face became clear on the screen. I know him, Min-jun said. That is David Chen. He works at the Port Authority. Customs Inspector. Sarah typed quickly on her laptop. Confirmed. David Chen, Customs Inspector for 12 years. Clean record. Family man. 2 kids in college. She looked at Min-jun. If he is here, this is bigger than we thought. A corrupt customs official means they can move anything through the port. On the screen, David Chen entered through the side door. He went straight to the back area, not stopping to order food. Can we hear anything? Sarah asked. Agent Kim adjusted the audio equipment. Voices came through the speakers, muffled but understandable. Have the shipment ready. That was Derek's voice. Need to move it by Monday. That was David Chen. Payment is in the usual place, and the conversation was brief. 5 minutes later, David Chen left through the side door. He carried the same briefcase, but it looked heavier now. Did we get that recorded? Sarah asked. Every word, Agent Kim confirmed. And video showing him entering with an empty briefcase and leaving with a full one. Good. Very good. But they were not done. At 8:45, two more vehicles arrived. A white van with no markings pulled up to the back loading area. A black SUV parked near the side door. Multiple targets moving, Sarah said into her radio. All teams stay alert. 4 men got out of the vehicles. Min-jun recognized one of them immediately. His heart beat faster. That is James Park, he said, pointing at the screen. The main target. James Park was in his 50s, well-dressed, with gray hair. He looked like a successful businessman, not a criminal. But Min-jun had been tracking him for 3 years. He knew Park ran one of the largest smuggling operations on the East Coast. Why would he come personally? Sarah wondered. Someone at his level usually sends workers to do this kind of thing. Maybe this delivery is too important, Min-jun said. Maybe he does not trust anyone else. On the screen, James Park and his men entered through the back door. They wheeled dollies with them, the kind used to move heavy boxes. Agent Kim switched to a different audio feed. This one was weaker, but they could still hear some conversation. Biggest shipment yet. Move it to the warehouse by tomorrow. Customs is handled. The men were inside for 20 minutes. When they came out, the dollies were loaded with cardboard boxes. The boxes had Golden Star Burgers logos on them, like they contained restaurant supplies. But Min-jun knew they did not. The men loaded the boxes into the white van. James Park spoke briefly with Derek at the back door. They shook hands. Then Park and his crew drove away. Did we get plate numbers? Sarah asked. All of them, Agent Kim confirmed. Sarah was already on her phone. I want units following those vehicles. But stay back. Do not spook them. I just want to know where they go. For the next hour, more vehicles came and went. Some Min-jun recognized from his undercover work. Others were new faces. Each time it was the same pattern. They arrived, went to the back area, exchanged packages or boxes, then left. By 10 o'clock, the rain was pouring down. The restaurant looked like it was closing. Regular customers had stopped coming. Only the criminal activity continued. Then something unexpected happened. A police car pulled up in front of the restaurant. What is this? Sarah said, leaning forward. 2 police officers got out. They were uniformed patrol cops, not detectives. They walked into the restaurant through the front door. Did someone call the police? Agent Kim asked. Not us, Sarah said. She grabbed her radio. All teams hold position. We have local police on scene. Do not interfere unless civilians are in danger. On the screen, they watched the police officers talk to Derek. The conversation looked friendly, casual. Derek was smiling, laughing. He gave the officers free food and drinks. They sat at a table and ate. They are on his payroll, Min-jun said quietly. Sarah nodded. Looks that way. Derek pays them to stop by to make everything look normal. Smart. The police officers stayed for 15 minutes, then left. As soon as their car was gone, another delivery vehicle arrived. These people are organized, Agent Kim said. They time everything perfectly. By 11:30, the activity stopped. The last vehicle left. Derek locked the front door. Through the window, they could see him and Rosa cleaning up. Rosa was mopping the floor. Derek was counting money at the counter. After 20 minutes, Rosa left through the front door. She looked tired, walking slowly to an old car in the parking lot. Should we talk to her? Agent Kim asked. Not tonight, Sarah said. We do not want to compromise her or scare her. We will contact her safely later. Derek left 10 minutes after Rosa. He locked all the doors, checked them twice, then got into a new BMW. He drove away, the red taillights disappearing into the rain. Friday arrived with dark clouds. The weather forecast predicted heavy rain by evening. Perfect conditions for Derek's special deliveries if Rosa was right. Min-jun spent the morning in the operations center with Sarah and 3 other agents. They gathered in a conference room, reviewing plans and checking equipment. We have 3 surveillance vehicles positioned around the restaurant, Sarah explained, pointing to a map on the screen. 2 agents in each vehicle. They have cameras with night vision and long-range audio equipment. Agent Marcus Webb, no relation to the courier, raised his hand. What if nothing happens? What if they know we are watching? We have been very careful, Sarah said. The vehicles look like normal cars. Civilian plates. No one will suspect anything. And even if nothing happens tonight, we keep watching. Eventually they will move. Agent Kim Seo-yoon, a tech specialist, spoke up. I have access to the restaurant's business records. Derek Hoffman has been moving a lot of cash through that place, more than a small burger joint should make. Either he is the most popular restaurant in the city, or he is cleaning dirty money. Probably both, Sarah said. The restaurant is real. It serves real food. But it also serves as cover for illegal activity. That makes it harder to catch. Everything looks legitimate on the surface. Min-jun had been quiet, studying the map. What about the workers? Rosa told me she works Friday nights. If something happens, if there is a confrontation, she could be in danger. Sarah nodded. We have thought about that. Our job tonight is surveillance only. We watch, we record, we gather evidence. No confrontation. No arrests, not yet. The workers will be safe. What if something goes wrong? Min-jun pressed. We have backup teams on standby. If anyone is in danger, we move in. But we are hoping to avoid that. The meeting lasted another hour. They reviewed protocols, emergency procedures, and communication codes. By the time they finished, it was 3 in the afternoon. Rain had started to fall. Everyone get some rest, Sarah said. We start positions at 6. Full surveillance by 7. Min-jun went to his apartment. It was small and plain, suitable for his cover identity. He had lived there for 3 years, pretending to be a simple courier with no family, no friends, no real life. It was lonely work. He lay on his bed trying to sleep, but his mind would not rest. He kept thinking about Derek, about the smuggling ring, about Rosa and the other workers. 3 years of careful work was about to pay off. But he felt something else too, something personal. Derek had treated him like garbage, not because of anything Min-jun had done, but because of how he looked. Because Derek saw an Asian immigrant and assumed he could be disrespected. It was a small thing compared to the crimes Derek was involved in. But it mattered. Min-jun's parents had come to this country 40 years ago. They worked hard jobs. His father was a janitor. His mother cleaned houses. They faced discrimination every day. People who looked down on them. People who spoke slowly, assuming they could not understand English. People like Derek. That was why Min-jun had become a federal agent. To protect people who could not protect themselves. To stop criminals who hurt vulnerable communities. This case was personal in ways Sarah did not fully understand. At 5:30, Min-jun got up. He dressed in dark clothes and a waterproof jacket. The rain was steady now, tapping against his window. He checked his phone. A text from Sarah. Rain is perfect. They will move tonight. Min-jun drove to a location 3 blocks from the restaurant. He parked and walked to one of the surveillance vehicles. Sarah was inside with Agent Kim. Status? Min-jun asked, climbing into the back seat. All teams in position, Sarah said. She pointed to a laptop screen showing multiple camera feeds. We have views of the front entrance, side door, and loading area in the back. Audio is good. We can hear conversations up to 50 feet away. On the screen, Min-jun could see Golden Star Burgers. The lights were on inside. Through the windows, he saw Derek moving behind the counter. Rosa was there too, serving customers. We wait, Sarah said. The next 2 hours moved slowly. Min-jun watched the screens as normal customers came and went. Families getting dinner, teenagers hanging out. Nothing suspicious. At 8:15, the rain got heavier. That was when the first special visitor arrived. A black sedan pulled up to the side door. A man got out wearing an expensive suit and carrying a briefcase. He did not look like a typical fast food customer. Camera 2, zoom in, Sarah said. Agent Kim adjusted the view. The man's face became clear on the screen. I know him, Min-jun said. That is David Chen. He works at the Port Authority. Customs Inspector. Sarah typed quickly on her laptop. Confirmed. David Chen, Customs Inspector for 12 years. Clean record. Family man. 2 kids in college. She looked at Min-jun. If he is here, this is bigger than we thought. A corrupt customs official means they can move anything through the port. On the screen, David Chen entered through the side door. He went straight to the back area, not stopping to order food. Can we hear anything? Sarah asked. Agent Kim adjusted the audio equipment. Voices came through the speakers, muffled but understandable. Have the shipment ready. That was Derek's voice. Need to move it by Monday. That was David Chen. Payment is in the usual place, and the conversation was brief. 5 minutes later, David Chen left through the side door. He carried the same briefcase, but it looked heavier now. Did we get that recorded? Sarah asked. Every word, Agent Kim confirmed. And video showing him entering with an empty briefcase and leaving with a full one. Good. Very good. But they were not done. At 8:45, 2 more vehicles arrived. A white van with no markings pulled up to the back loading area. A black SUV parked near the side door. Multiple targets moving, Sarah said into her radio. All teams stay alert. 4 men got out of the vehicles. Min-jun recognized one of them immediately. His heart beat faster. That is James Park, he said, pointing at the screen. The main target. James Park was in his 50s, well-dressed, with gray hair. He looked like a successful businessman, not a criminal. But Min-jun had been tracking him for 3 years. He knew Park ran one of the largest smuggling operations on the East Coast. Why would he come personally? Sarah wondered. Someone at his level usually sends workers to do this kind of thing. Maybe this delivery is too important, Min-jun said. Maybe he does not trust anyone else. On the screen, James Park and his men entered through the back door. They wheeled dollies with them, the kind used to move heavy boxes. Agent Kim switched to a different audio feed. This one was weaker, but they could still hear some conversation. Biggest shipment yet. Move it to the warehouse by tomorrow. Customs is handled. The men were inside for 20 minutes. When they came out, the dollies were loaded with cardboard boxes. The boxes had Golden Star Burgers logos on them, like they contained restaurant supplies. But Min-jun knew they did not. The men loaded the boxes into the white van. James Park spoke briefly with Derek at the back door. They shook hands. Then Park and his crew drove away. Did we get plate numbers? Sarah asked. All of them, Agent Kim confirmed. Sarah was already on her phone. I want units following those vehicles. But stay back. Do not spook them. I just want to know where they go. For the next hour, more vehicles came and went. Some Min-jun recognized from his undercover work. Others were new faces. Each time it was the same pattern. They arrived, went to the back area, exchanged packages or boxes, then left. By 10 o'clock, the rain was pouring down. The restaurant looked like it was closing. Regular customers had stopped coming. Only the criminal activity continued. Then something unexpected happened. A police car pulled up in front of the restaurant. What is this? Sarah said, leaning forward. 2 police officers got out. They were uniformed patrol cops, not detectives. They walked into the restaurant through the front door. Did someone call the police? Agent Kim asked. Not us, Sarah said. She grabbed her radio. All teams hold position. We have local police on scene. Do not interfere unless civilians are in danger. On the screen, they watched the police officers talk to Derek. The conversation looked friendly, casual. Derek was smiling, laughing. He gave the officers free food and drinks. They sat at a table and ate. They are on his payroll, Min-jun said quietly. Sarah nodded. Looks that way. Derek pays them to stop by to make everything look normal. Smart. The police officers stayed for 15 minutes, then left. As soon as their car was gone, another delivery vehicle arrived. These people are organized, Agent Kim said. They time everything perfectly. By 11:30, the activity stopped. The last vehicle left. Derek locked the front door. Through the window, they could see him and Rosa cleaning up. Rosa was mopping the floor. Derek was counting money at the counter. After 20 minutes, Rosa left through the front door. She looked tired, walking slowly to an old car in the parking lot. Should we talk to her? Agent Kim asked. Not tonight, Sarah said. We do not want to compromise her or scare her. We will contact her safely later. Derek left 10 minutes after Rosa. He locked all the doors, checked them twice, then got into a new BMW. He drove away, the red taillights disappearing into the rain. Then he saw Rosa. She was terrified, shaking, tears running down her face. She thought she was being arrested too. She did not understand. Min-jun went to her. He spoke gently. Mrs. Rodriguez, you are safe. You are not in trouble. We know you did nothing wrong. But I work here, she said through tears. I did not know. I did not. We know. You are a witness, not a criminal. We are going to protect you. Agent Kim came over. She was gentle with Rosa, explaining everything slowly. Immigration lawyers were already on their way. Rosa would be safe. Her job would be protected. Everything would be okay. Meanwhile, agents searched the restaurant thoroughly. They found a hidden room behind the walk-in freezer. Inside were boxes of stolen electronics, counterfeit documents, and plastic bags filled with pills. The evidence was overwhelming. Derek was on the floor, handcuffed, his face pressed against the tile. He was screaming, "You cannot do this! I have rights! I want my lawyer!" An agent pulled him to his feet. That was when Derek saw Min Jun standing near the door. Their eyes met. For a moment, Derek looked confused. Then recognition flashed across his face. You are that customer. The one who kept coming back." Min Jun walked closer. He wanted Derek to see him clearly, to understand. "I am not a customer," Min Jun said calmly. "I am Agent Min Jun Park, Federal Bureau of Investigation. I have been investigating you and your organization for months." Derek's face went pale. No, that is not possible. You were just some random guy. You did not speak English well." "You were." "I was undercover," Min Jun said. "Every visit I made, every wrong order you gave me, every insult you threw at me, I documented it all. Your arrogance made you careless. You never suspected that the person you treated like garbage was the person who would bring you down." Derek's mouth opened and closed like a fish. He could not find words. Another agent pulled Derek toward the door. "Let's go. You have a cell waiting for you." As Derek was led away, Min Jun felt satisfaction. Not happiness exactly. Justice being served was serious business, not a celebration. But satisfaction that the work was done correctly. James Park was next. He walked out calmly between two agents. He looked at Min Jun as he passed. "I know you," Park said. "You delivered packages for me. Lee was your name. Or was that fake too?" "It was fake," Min Jun confirmed. "Everything was fake. Your operation is finished." Park smiled slightly. "You think so? Men like me have good lawyers. We will see what happens in court." "We have everything we need," Min Jun said. "Video, audio, witnesses, evidence. You will spend the rest of your life in prison." Park's smile faded. He said nothing as agents led him to a waiting vehicle. Over the next hour, the restaurant became a crime scene. Agents photographed everything. Evidence technicians bagged and tagged items. Forensic specialists examined the hidden room. Min Jun helped identify people. Each person arrested was brought past him. He confirmed identities, connected them to specific crimes, and provided details from his 3 years of observation. David Chen was crying when agents brought him out. "I have a family. I have kids in college. Please, I will cooperate. I will tell you everything." "You should have thought about your family before you became a criminal," Agent Kim said coldly. By 10 p.m., 15 people had been arrested. The operation was a complete success. All 7 teams reported the same thing: clean raids, solid evidence, no injuries. Sarah came to the restaurant to oversee the final stages. She found Min Jun outside, watching as the last pieces of evidence were loaded into vehicles. "We did it," she said. "Yes," Min Jun said. "We did." "You should be proud. 3 years of your life. Most agents never work a case this long, never have to live a fake identity for so long. You sacrificed a lot." Min Jun thought about that. 3 years without real relationships. 3 years of loneliness. 3 years of pretending. But tonight made it worth it. "It was worth it to stop people like Derek and Park," he said. Sarah patted his shoulder. "Get some rest. Tomorrow starts the long process of building the court case. But tonight we celebrate." As Min Jun drove home through the rain, he passed the restaurant one last time. Crime scene tape covered the doors. Police lights still flashed. The sign that said Golden Star Burgers looked dark and dead. Derek was in a cell tonight. So was James Park. So were 15 others who had hurt people, who had profited from crime, who had treated vulnerable people like garbage. And Min Jun, the quiet customer they had all underestimated, had brought them all down. Tomorrow he would write reports. Tomorrow he would prepare for trials. Tomorrow he would start the process of returning to his real life after 3 years undercover. But tonight, justice had been served, and that was enough. The morning after the raid, Min Jun woke up feeling strange. For 3 years every morning had been the same. Wake up in his small apartment. Check his phone for messages from his criminal contacts. Maintain his cover identity. Live the lie. But today was different. Today, his cover was blown. Everyone in the smuggling ring knew who he really was. Agent Min-jun Park, FBI. The undercover work was over. He should have felt relief. Instead, he felt empty. 3 years of his life had been dedicated to one goal. Now that goal was achieved. What came next? His phone rang. It was Sarah. Morning. How are you feeling? Tired, Min-jun admitted, but good. Come to the office. We have a lot of work to do. The prosecutors want to meet with you. They need your testimony for the cases. I will be there in an hour. The operations center was busy when Min-jun arrived. Agents moved between offices carrying files and evidence boxes. Everyone was working on different parts of the case against Derek, James Park, and the others. Sarah met him at the elevator. Big day. The arrests made national news. Our director is very happy. This is one of the largest smuggling operations we have broken up this year. What about the people we arrested? Are they talking? Some are. David Chen is cooperating fully. He gave us names, locations, financial records. He is trying to get a reduced sentence by helping us. Sarah led Min-jun to a conference room. Derek, on the other hand, is not cooperating. He got a lawyer who told him to stay quiet. What about James Park? Park is interesting. He admitted nothing, but he also did not ask for a lawyer immediately. He is calculating, trying to figure out his options. Inside the conference room, 3 people waited. They introduced themselves as federal prosecutors. They would be handling the criminal cases. Agent Park, the lead prosecutor, said. She was a woman in her 50s with sharp eyes. Your undercover work was exceptional. We have reviewed the evidence, the documentation, the recordings, the photographs. Everything is solid. Thank you, Min-jun said. We want to talk about your testimony. You will be our key witness at trial. The jury needs to hear directly from you about what you saw and experienced. For the next 3 hours, Min-jun went through everything. Every visit to the restaurant, every wrong order, every insult from Derek, every delivery he witnessed. Every face he recognized. The prosecutors took notes constantly. They asked detailed questions, they challenged his memory, making sure he was certain about dates and times. Derek's lawyer will try to discredit you, the lead prosecutor explained. They will say you entrapped Derek, that you pushed him into criminal activity. We need to prove that is not true, that you were simply observing criminal activity that was already happening. I never encouraged Derek to do anything illegal, Min-jun said. I was just a customer who ordered food. I observed what he was already doing. Good. That is exactly what we need to establish. After the meeting with prosecutors, Sarah took Min-jun to another office. Agent Kim was there, surrounded by computer screens. I have been going through Derek's financial records, Kim said. This guy was making serious money. His salary as a manager was $40,000 a year, but he was spending like he made $500,000. New car, expensive apartment, designer clothes, all funded by his criminal activity. How much did he make from the smuggling? Min-jun asked. We estimate about $30,000 per month. Cash payments. He was careful about how he deposited it, spreading it across multiple banks, but not careful enough. Sarah pointed to another screen. We also found evidence that Derek was stealing from the restaurant employees. He was taking their tips, paying them less than minimum wage. Several employees were undocumented, and he used that to threaten them. Min-jun felt anger rising again. Rosa told me he was not a good boss. I did not realize it was this bad. We are building cases for labor violations too, Sarah said. Derek will face multiple charges: smuggling, money laundering, labor trafficking, wage theft. He is looking at 20 years minimum. What about Rosa and the other workers? They are being protected. We have immigration lawyers helping them. Rosa is applying for a U visa. That is for victims of crime who cooperate with law enforcement. She should get legal status. That is good news, Min-jun said. Agent Kim pulled up another screen. There is something else you should see. We found Derek's personal communications, text messages, emails. Some of them are about you. About me? After your second or third visit to the restaurant, Derek sent messages to his friends. Here, read this one. Minjun read the text message on the screen. It was from Derek to someone named Brad. Some Asian dude keeps coming in and ordering food. Does not speak English well. I keep messing up his orders on purpose, Lowell. He never complains. Probably illegal and scared of authorities. Another message said, that Asian customer came back again. 4th time this week. I made his burger with extra onions even though he said he is allergic. He just left without eating it, haha. These people are so easy to bully. Minjun read message after message. Each one showed Derek's cruelty. His enjoyment of making people suffer. His assumption that immigrants were weak and powerless. He documented his own behavior. Agent Kim said, these messages prove his pattern of discrimination. They also establish that you are a legitimate customer, not someone trying to entrap him. Sarah nodded. Derek's own words will help convict him. His lawyer cannot argue that you were suspicious or unusual. Derek himself described you as just a regular customer he enjoyed mistreating. Minjun felt something complicated. Satisfaction that Derek had created evidence against himself, but also sadness that people like Derek existed, people who found pleasure in hurting others. Can these messages be used in court? He asked. Absolutely, the lead prosecutor said. She had followed them into the office. These show Derek's state of mind, his patterns, his willingness to harm people for entertainment. The jury will see exactly what kind of person he is. Over the next week, Minjun worked closely with prosecutors. They prepared his testimony. They practiced questions and answers. They anticipated what Derek's defense lawyer would ask. He also visited the restaurant again. It was closed, still marked as a crime scene. But through the windows he could see it was empty. The equipment was gone. The tables were cleared. It looked sad and abandoned. A car pulled up next to Minjun. Rosa got out. She looked surprised to see him. Agent Park, she said. What are you doing here? Just remembering, Minjun said. What about you? Same, I worked here for 8 years. It was not always bad. Before Derek, it was a good place. She looked at the empty restaurant. The owners are shutting it down permanently. They say the reputation is ruined. What will you do now? I have a new job. At a hospital cleaning. The pay is better. And the immigration lawyer you sent, she is helping me with my papers. She says I have a good chance for legal status. That is wonderful news. Rosa looked at Minjun carefully. I did not know you were an agent. You seemed like a normal person, quiet, polite. I am a normal person. Being an agent is my job, but I'm still just a person. Derek was so mean to you. I saw it every time you came. I felt bad for you. You were kind to me, Minjun said. That one night when Derek was not there. You made my food correctly. You talked to me like I mattered. That meant something. Rosa smiled sadly. My mother always said treat everyone with respect. You never know who they really are. Your mother was wise. They stood together looking at the closed restaurant. Two people from different backgrounds, brought together by crime and justice. Will you have to testify at the trial? Rosa asked. Yes, will you? They said I might. I am scared. Do not be scared. You are brave. You told the truth. You helped stop bad people. That takes courage, Rosa wiped her eyes. Thank you. For everything. For stopping Derek, for protecting people like me. You are welcome. Rosa got back in her car and drove away. Minjun stayed a few more minutes, then left too. That evening, Sarah called him. We have news. David Chen gave us information about another smuggling route, bigger than anything we knew about. Park's organization was moving illegal goods across 3 states. How big? Millions of dollars per month. We are talking about a major criminal enterprise, and it all connects back to that restaurant. What happens now? Now we expand the investigation. We follow the money. We identify everyone involved. This case keeps growing. How long will this take? Months, maybe longer. Are you ready for that? Minjun thought about it. 3 years undercover. Now more months of investigation and trials. It was a lot to ask. But this was his job. This was what he had dedicated his life to. I am ready, he said. 2 weeks later, Minjun attended the first hearing. Derek was brought into the courtroom in handcuffs. He wore an orange jumpsuit. His expensive haircut was growing out. He looked smaller somehow, less confident. When Derek saw Min Jun sitting in the gallery, his face twisted with anger. He leaned over to his lawyer and whispered something. The lawyer glanced at Min Jun and shook his head. The judge entered. Everyone stood. The hearing began. The prosecutor presented the charges: smuggling, money laundering, labor trafficking, wage theft, immigration violations. The list was long. Derek pleaded not guilty to everything. His lawyer argued that Derek was a victim too, that he had been pressured by James Park to allow illegal activity at the restaurant, that he was just trying to keep his job. The prosecutor responded with evidence: video recordings, text messages, financial records, Derek's own words showing he was a willing participant, not a victim. The judge listened carefully. Finally, she spoke. Bail is denied. Mr. Hoffman will remain in custody until trial. Given the serious nature of these charges and the defendant's connections to organized crime, he is a flight risk. Derek's face went pale. He had expected to post bail and go home. Instead, he would stay in jail. As guards led Derek away, he looked back at Min Jun one more time. Their eyes met. Derek's expression was pure hatred. Min Jun felt no satisfaction from Derek's suffering. He felt nothing except the knowledge that justice was working as it should. Outside the courthouse, reporters crowded around. They wanted to talk to the agents who broke up the smuggling ring. Sarah handled the press conference. Min Jun stayed in the background. One reporter shouted a question. Is it true that an undercover agent pretended to be a customer at the restaurant for months? Sarah smiled slightly. I cannot discuss specific investigative techniques, but I can say that our agents are highly trained and dedicated. They do whatever it takes to protect the public and stop criminal activity. Later that night, Min Jun sat in his apartment. He opened his laptop and began writing his official report. Every detail of the 3-year investigation, every observation, every piece of evidence. It would be a long report, hundreds of pages, but it needed to be complete, thorough, perfect, because Derek's trial was just the beginning. James Park's trial would be bigger, more complex. Min Jun's testimony would be critical. As he typed, Min Jun thought about his parents. They had immigrated to this country with nothing. They had worked hard. They had faced discrimination and hardship, but they had never given up. They had taught Min Jun to stand up for what was right, to protect people who could not protect themselves, to fight against injustice. Tonight, in a small way, Min Jun had honored that lesson. He had stopped people who hurt vulnerable communities. He had given voice to people like Rosa who were afraid to speak. The work was not finished, but it was progress. And sometimes progress was enough. 3 months passed. 3 months of preparation, investigation, and legal work. Min Jun spent countless hours with prosecutors, reviewing evidence and preparing testimony. The case against Derek Hoffman and James Park was massive. Hundreds of pages of documents, dozens of witnesses, mountains of evidence. During those months, Min Jun tried to return to normal life. But what was normal after 3 years undercover? He had no real friends, no relationships. His apartment felt empty. His life felt incomplete, Sarah noticed. She called him into her office one afternoon. How are you doing? Really doing? I am fine, Min Jun said automatically. That is not what I asked. I asked how you are really doing. Min Jun was quiet for a moment. Then he answered honestly. I do not know. For 3 years I had a purpose. I had a mission. Now that mission is mostly complete. I feel lost, Sarah nodded with understanding. That is normal. Undercover agents often struggle after coming back. You spent 3 years being someone else. Now you have to remember who you really are. What if I do not remember? Then you figure it out. You rebuild. The Bureau has counselors who specialize in this. I can set up appointments if you want. Maybe, Min Jun said. Let me think about it. That evening, Min Jun went for a walk. He ended up on 5th Street, near where Golden Star Burgers used to be. The building was empty now. A for lease sign hung in the window. The place that had been the center of so much criminal activity was now just another vacant property. A car honked. Min Jun turned. It was Rosa driving past. She pulled over and rolled down her window. Agent Park. How are you? I am well. How are you? Good. My visa was approved. I am legal now. And my daughter, she got accepted to nursing school. Good things are happening. Min Jun smiled. That is wonderful news. I am very happy for you. It is because of you. You stopped Derek. You helped me. I will never forget that. You helped yourself. You were brave. You told the truth. Rosa reached through the window and squeezed his hand. You are a good man. Thank you. Then she drove away, waving. Min-jun stood there, feeling warmth in his chest. Maybe this was why he did the work. Not for the arrests or the headlines, but for moments like this, knowing that he had helped someone build a better life. The trials began in early spring. Derek's trial came first. It was held in federal court, with Judge Patricia Martinez presiding. The courtroom was packed with reporters, observers, and law enforcement. Derek sat at the defense table with his lawyer. He wore a suit now, not a jumpsuit. His lawyer had probably told him to look respectable, but Derek's face still showed arrogance. Even facing serious charges, he thought he would win. The prosecution called witnesses one by one. Customers who had observed suspicious activity. Delivery drivers who had transported illegal goods. Financial experts who explained the money laundering. Then they called Rosa Rodriguez. Rosa walked to the witness stand slowly. She looked nervous. Her hands shook as she placed them on the Bible to swear her oath. The prosecutor was gentle with her. Mrs. Rodriguez, how long did you work at Golden Star Burgers? 8 years, Rosa said quietly. And during that time, did you observe any unusual activity? Yes, after Derek became manager, things changed. Strange people came at night. Packages were moved through the kitchen. Derek told us not to ask questions. Did Derek ever threaten you? Rosa's voice trembled. Yes, he said if I talked to anyone about what I saw, he would call immigration. He said I would be deported. My children would lose their mother. Were you afraid? Very afraid. I needed my job. I could not risk losing my children. The prosecutor showed Rosa documents, bank records, time cards showing Rosa worked but was not paid proper wages, text messages from Derek threatening employees. Did you feel safe working for Derek Hoffman? No, Rosa said. Tears ran down her face. I was scared every day. Derek's lawyer tried to make Rosa look bad during cross-examination. He suggested she was lying to get legal status, that she was helping the government in exchange for a visa, but Rosa stood firm. I am telling the truth. Derek was a bad man who hurt people. I'm glad he was stopped. When Rosa stepped down, she looked at Min-jun in the gallery. He nodded at her. She had done well. She had been strong. Next, the prosecution called Agent Kim Seo-yun. She explained the technical evidence, the surveillance videos, the recordings, the digital evidence from Derek's phone and computer. Then came Agent Sarah Chen. She explained the investigation, how they had tracked the smuggling operation for years, how Derek's restaurant had been identified as a key node in the network. Finally, on the third day of trial, the prosecution called Min-jun. The government calls Agent Min-jun Park. Min-jun walked to the witness stand. He raised his right hand and swore to tell the truth. Then he sat down and looked at the courtroom. Derek was staring at him with hatred. The prosecutor began. Agent Park, please tell the jury about your work on this case. Min-jun spoke clearly. I was assigned to investigate a large smuggling operation run by James Park and his associates. I worked undercover for 3 years, posing as a courier to gather evidence. During that investigation, did you encounter the defendant, Derek Hoffman? Yes. I observed suspicious activity at Golden Star Burgers where Mr. Hoffman was the manager. I witnessed exchanges between Mr. Hoffman and known criminals. I documented illegal deliveries and money transfers. Tell us about your visits to the restaurant. This was the important part. Min-jun spoke calmly, describing each visit. The wrong orders. The insults. Derek's pattern of mistreating customers who appeared to be immigrants. Why did you keep returning despite this treatment? Because I was observing criminal activity. The poor service and insults were irrelevant to my investigation. I was there to gather evidence. Did you ever encourage Mr. Hoffman to commit crimes? No, I was simply a customer who ordered food. I observed what Mr. Hoffman was already doing. The prosecutor showed the jury Derek's text messages, the ones where Derek bragged about mistreating Min-jun. The jury members looked shocked as they read Derek's cruel words. Then came cross-examination. Derek's lawyer stood up, trying to look confident. Agent Park, is not it true that you targeted my client specifically? No, I targeted the smuggling operation. Your client happened to be part of it. You visited the restaurant multiple times. You kept coming back despite bad service. That seems like harassment. I returned because I was conducting an investigation. Each visit provided additional evidence of criminal activity. You were trying to entrap my client. No, I never encouraged your client to commit crimes. I simply observed crimes that were already happening. The lawyer tried different approaches. He suggested Minjun was biased against Derek, that he had a personal grudge, that the investigation was improper, but Minjun stayed calm. He answered every question honestly and directly. The evidence spoke for itself. After 2 hours of cross-examination, the lawyer sat down. He had not damaged Minjun's testimony. The prosecution rested its case. Now Derek's lawyer presented his defense. Derek took the stand. Big mistake in Minjun's opinion. But Derek's arrogance made him believe he could convince the jury. I was just trying to run a restaurant, Derek said. James Park forced me to allow his business there. He threatened me. I was a victim. The prosecutor destroyed this defense during cross-examination. She showed Derek's text messages, his bank records showing large cash deposits, his expensive purchases. Everything proved Derek was a willing participant who profited greatly. If you were a victim, why did you never call the police? The prosecutor asked. I was scared, Derek said weakly. You were scared, but you still managed to buy a $50,000 car? You were scared, but you still bragged to friends about making easy money? Derek had no good answers. The trial lasted 2 weeks. Finally, closing arguments were presented. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they returned, the foreman stood. We find the defendant, Derek Hoffman, guilty on all counts. Derek's face went white. His mother, sitting in the gallery, began crying. But Minjun felt no satisfaction, just relief that justice was working. Judge Martinez set sentencing for 1 month later. Derek was led away in handcuffs. Outside the courthouse, Sarah found Minjun. Good job in there. Your testimony was perfect. Thank you. James Park's trial starts next month. We will need you again. I know. Sarah studied his face. This is hard on you. I can see it. It is the right thing to do, Minjun said. That is enough. James Park's trial was bigger and more complex. It lasted 6 weeks. The evidence was overwhelming. Financial records, witness testimony, recordings. Everything connected Park to a massive smuggling operation that moved millions of dollars in illegal goods. Minjun testified again. This time, Park's lawyer was more aggressive. He tried to suggest that Minjun had created evidence, that the whole investigation was flawed, but the jury saw through it. After 2 days of deliberation, they found James Park guilty on every count. Derek's sentencing came first. Minjun attended, sitting in the gallery. Judge Martinez looked stern. Mr. Hoffman, you have been convicted of serious crimes. Smuggling, money laundering, labor trafficking. You exploited vulnerable workers. You participated in an organization that brought illegal drugs and goods into our community. Derek's lawyer asked for leniency. Your Honor, my client is young. He made mistakes. He deserves a second chance. The prosecutor stood. Your Honor, the defendant showed no remorse. His text messages show he enjoyed hurting people. He targeted immigrants because he thought they were powerless. He does not deserve leniency. Judge Martinez nodded. I agree. Derek Hoffman, I sentence you to 22 years in federal prison. You will also pay restitution to your victims and face deportation proceedings for the undocumented workers you threatened. Derek's mother screamed. Derek himself showed no emotion, just stared straight ahead. James Park received 35 years. David Chen, who cooperated, received 12 years. After all the trials were finished, Sarah took the team out for dinner. They went to a nice restaurant, nothing like Golden Star Burgers. Everyone was relaxed, laughing, celebrating. To Agent Park, Sarah raised her glass. 3 years of sacrifice, brilliant undercover work. This case will be taught at the academy as an example of how to do it right. Everyone cheered. Minjun felt embarrassed but also proud. Later, Agent Kim asked him, "What will you do now? Take a vacation? Start a new assignment?" "I do not know yet," Minjun admitted. "Maybe both." That night, Minjun made a decision. He called the counselor Sarah had recommended. It was time to deal with the emptiness he felt. Time to rebuild his life. Over the next months, Min-jun worked with the counselor. They talked about his 3 years undercover, about the isolation, about the difficulty of returning to normal life. Slowly, Min-jun started reconnecting with his real identity. He visited his parents. He reached out to old friends. He started building relationships again. 1 year after the raid, Min-jun returned to 5th Street one final time. The empty building that once housed Golden Star Burgers was being renovated. A new sign hung above the door. Community Center opening soon. Min-jun went inside. Construction workers were installing new floors. Fresh paint covered the walls. Everything that reminded anyone of Derek and the criminal operation was gone. A woman approached him. She was elderly with kind eyes. "Can I help you?" "I am just looking," Min-jun said. "What will this place be?" "A community center for immigrant families. Legal help, English classes, job training. A safe place where people can get support." The woman smiled. "There's a nice story about this building. An FBI agent once helped shut down a criminal operation here. He protected workers who were being exploited. The building's owners donated it to our organization in honor of what he did." Min-jun felt emotion rising in his throat. "That is a good story." "Are you from this neighborhood?" the woman asked. "I used to come here sometimes," Min-jun said, "for the food." "Well, when we open, please come back. We will have much better food than what was here before." Min-jun smiled. "I will." As he left the building, Min-jun's phone rang. It was Sarah. "New assignment if you want it. Nothing undercover, just regular agent work. Interested?" "Yes," Min-jun said. "I am ready." He walked to his car through bright sunshine. No rain today. No more pretending to be someone else. No more wrong orders or insults or criminal exchanges. Just life. Real life. His life. Min-jun thought about Derek, sitting in a prison cell for the next 22 years. Derek had treated him like garbage because of how he looked. Because Derek assumed an Asian immigrant was weak and powerless. But Derek had been wrong. So very wrong. The quiet customer with the wrong order had been something Derek never expected. A federal agent, a patient investigator, a person dedicated to justice. And in the end, Derek's own arrogance and cruelty had destroyed him. Every insult had been documented. Every wrong order had given Min-jun more time to observe. Every moment of Derek's mockery had made the evidence stronger. It was the perfect revenge. Not violent, not emotional, just patient, professional justice. Min-jun started his car and drove away from 5th Street. In his rearview mirror, he saw the future community center growing smaller. A place that would help people instead of hurt them. A place that would build up instead of tear down. That was the real victory. Not Derek's imprisonment. Not the headlines or the praise, but the knowledge that something good was growing from the ashes of something bad. As Min-jun merged into traffic, heading toward the FBI office and his new assignment, he felt something he had not felt in years. Peace. The case was closed. The criminals were in prison. The victims were protected. Justice had been served, and Agent Min-jun Park was ready for whatever came next.